Day 3 of the Microsoft versus the FTC trial really put PlayStation boss Jim Ryan on the hot seat. But did he crack under the pressure? Find out. Up next. What up guys, this is Kalo and I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content, drop a like on the video, and welcome to the Level Up. I think it's no secret, but the FTC versus Microsoft trial is just so expansive and jam-packed full of details that I really want to make sure you guys get. And I know when it comes to these trials, people can't just sit down and listen to the whole damn thing, so consider this the abbreviated version of the trial. So day number 3 of the FTC versus Microsoft trial put Jim Ryan on the stand, and it was yet another strong showing for Microsoft. First off, real quick, Judge Corley has been fantastic doing this job and handling the whole thing since there's a lot of moving parts here. But let's talk about Jim Ryan. Things did not go well at all for PlayStation, and he seemingly tore down whatever remained of the FTC's case. One of the many arguments for the FTC was over exclusivity, and it's not a secret. Console exclusive games are a massive part of the gaming space, and they do drive sales of respective consoles. Hell, that's one of the main reasons why I buy Nintendo's consoles, because I gotta play Pokemon and I gotta play Smash. But all of this doesn't mean that one game this battle has been over, being Call of Duty, will be a console exclusive. Phil Spencer said under oath himself, he will commit to shipping Call of Duty on PlayStation as long as Sony lets them. But oddly enough, Jim Ryan didn't seem too concerned about exclusivity on day 3. Rather, his focus was on Game Pass. This reason being, he said he doesn't like how Starfield and Redfall are exclusive to Xbox, but at the same time, he doesn't view this as anti-competitive. So he must be aware that he could be coming off as a little bit of a hypocrite, since PlayStation is piled to the brim with exclusives. But what he did say was that Xbox will use Activision Blizzard titles like Call of Duty to drive PlayStation users away from their platform, which would be bad for PlayStation fans. I, for one, think what he's really thinking deep down is that this will be bad for PlayStation's business model, because it offers users a choice and yet another relatively cheap option to play games that compete with their $70 games. But Judge Corley debated that Game Pass could be good for consumers because it offers an extra choice. And let's be honest here. If Jim Ryan was that concerned over the fact Xbox is getting Call of Duty, don't you think he'd sign those deals that Xbox has offered to keep the business going? Basically, as I've been saying all this time, this is just an elaborate excuse to block the merger and there's nothing more to it. But check this out. This was my favorite part of the whole day. Jim Ryan was asked if the roles were reversed and PlayStation were the ones to get Activision Blizzard, would he make games exclusive to PlayStation? He replied, quote, "That's a hypothetical question. I prefer not to answer." He was then still told to answer the question, but he still didn't give a clear answer. But let's shift focus to another pillar of the FTC's argument, and that's cloud gaming. So Jim Ryan was asked yet again about all this. And PlayStation has had cloud gaming a lot longer than Microsoft, since PlayStation Now was released back in 2014. And let me tell you, he didn't like this question one bit. He kept saying PlayStation Plus Premium absorbed PS Now. Now he's trying to basically say they're just getting into that market, but that's factually wrong. He also did admit nobody can predict the growth and success of cloud gaming, which in turn hurts the CMA's case around cloud gaming. To me, it's just kind of funny how both of their witnesses destroyed their argument in the matter of hours. Now, the last big argument for the FTC was defining the game market, and by doing that, they would put PlayStation and Xbox in the, quote, high-end console market. This, in turn, would exclude the 10-year contract Xbox signed with Nintendo over Call of Duty games. Then Jim Ryan was asked about if he viewed Nintendo and the Switch as a direct competitor to Sony and PlayStation. He then went on to not acknowledge it as a direct competitor to the PlayStation 5. Later on, that was contradicted because when Sony got Bungie, they apparently told regulators that both Xbox and Nintendo are competitors. You honestly can't make this stuff up. Jim Ryan also mentioned how Bungie is worth a lot more to them than Activision Blizzard. But let's get into the next testimony from Dr. Lee. Basically, his job is to analyze the market and see if there's any anti-competitive results from a possible COD foreclosure. And he had one tough time explaining how this would all go. When asked about this matter by Microsoft's lawyers, he refused to give a straight answer to anything. And he was asked about Call of Duty. He replied, quote, "It was more likely Call of Duty would remain multi-platform without an acquisition." I mean, yeah, anyone with a brain could tell you that, but that wasn't the question he was asked. He just couldn't give straight answers. I mean, this expert even said Call of Duty was not essential for consoles. Are they even trying here? So it's quite clear the FTC doesn't have that clear definitive evidence they need to win the case. Now, Judge Corley, on the other hand, has been killing it with all the questions being given in this case. The FTC has made this argument about protecting the market leader. But she said, quote, "Cloud and subscription service seem to just be different ways for paying for games. So why are we saying it's a different market?" And there it is. This is the one thing the FTC couldn't explain, and the judge sees right through that. Call of Duty will remain multi-platform, and the deal isn't anti-consumer, and the judge clearly pointed this out. But with all that being said, I'm gonna pass this question off to you guys. I don't know if it's just me, but are the FTC and Sony mishandling this case in epic fashion? But that about does it here. I've been K-Lo. I gave you the lowdown in all things gaming, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and this has been the Level Up.